My wife claimed she had a late work meeting, but her GPS showed a motel. I decided to drop by, knocked on the door, and a shirtless man answered. I smirked and said, "Can you let my wife know she's late for the life she's about to lose?" His face went pale, right as she rushed out, desperately trying to explain. "I'm 42, been married 14 years, and up until recently, I thought we were just coasting. Not perfect, but not falling apart either. My wife, Monica, not her real name, is 39. Works as a marketing manager at a mid-sized firm in Raleigh, North Carolina. We've got 2 kids, both teens. Life has been about carpooling, mortgage payments, soccer practices, and late-night binge-watching shows we never finish. That's been us for years. Monica started having more late meetings about 6 months ago. I didn't think much of it. She's always been driven, and work sometimes runs over. But then the meetings started happening more often. Sometimes 3 times a week. Always evenings. Always around the same time. I started noticing little things. She'd get home smelling like a different perfume. Not the one she usually wears. She'd come in flustered, like she'd been running. Makeup slightly smudged. She'd be checking her phone way more, always turning the screen away when I got close. I convinced myself it was stress. Then came the day I noticed she'd left her iPad at home. It was synced with her phone. I wasn't snooping, but when I opened Safari to look something up, her recent GPS searches popped up. A local motel. Same one. Multiple times. I clicked on the location, and it was a budget in about 20 minutes from her office. One of those places off the interstate with a neon sign that flickers at night. You know the kind. That's when my stomach dropped. I felt like the ground was shifting under me. I stared at the address. It felt like someone had punched me in the throat. I closed the iPad and sat there in silence for a long time, trying to make it make sense. Maybe she was going there for work-related meetings. Maybe a client? Maybe I was overreacting. I didn't ask her about it right away. I wanted to be sure. So I waited. The next time she said she had a late meeting, I checked the iPad again. Same motel address popped up. Again. I told her I had to work late too. She barely looked up from her phone and said, "Okay, don't wait up." I got in my truck and waited a few blocks away. I saw her drive past. I followed at a distance. She didn't go to her office. She drove straight to that same budget motel. Pulled in. Parked. Got out. I stayed in my truck for a while, heart pounding, hands sweaty. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to drive away, pretend I never saw it. Pretend everything was fine. But another part of me, angry, confused, done with pretending, got out of the truck. I walked up to the front office and asked which room Monica had checked into. The guy behind the counter looked up, then hesitated. I guess he wasn't supposed to say. I slipped him a $20, and suddenly he remembered. "Room 117. He muttered. Room 117 was around the corner, tucked in the back, near the vending machines. I walked up and knocked. No answer at first. Then the door opened. A guy in his 30s. Shirtless. Hair messy. Sweat on his forehead like he'd just been moving around. He froze when he saw me. I didn't yell. I didn't lunge. I just smirked. My voice was calm, but I could feel my heart beating in my neck. "Hey," I said. "Can you let my wife know she's late for the life she's about to lose?" His face turned pale like all the blood drained out at once. Then I heard her. Wait. Monica's voice came from inside. She stumbled into view, still adjusting her blouse, face flushed, eyes wide. "It's not what it looks like." I stared at her. She looked like a stranger. She stepped out, reaching toward me, tears already forming in her eyes. "Let me explain," she said, voice shaky. I didn't respond. I didn't move. I just stood there. That was the moment everything changed. Not just in my marriage, but in me. She tried to talk, stumbling over her words. saying things like, "I didn't mean for it to happen," and "It was a mistake," and "You've been distant lately." I wasn't even listening. Not really. I kept looking at the guy behind her, who disappeared deeper into the room, probably hoping I wouldn't come back swinging. But I wasn't there for him. I was there to see the truth with my own eyes. And I saw it. Clear as day. Monica was crying now, really crying, saying she still loved me, that she wanted to fix things, that it wasn't serious, just something that happened a few times. She said it meant nothing. Nothing. 14 years of marriage. 2 kids. A life built together. And she said it meant nothing. I turned around and walked back to my truck. She didn't follow. At least, not right away. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even go home. I sat in my truck in a Walmart parking lot 2 towns over, staring at the roof of the car, trying to make sense of it all. I kept thinking, how long had this been going on? Who else knew? Was it just him or were there others? At around 3 a.m., I checked my phone. 10 missed calls. 14 texts. All from her. I didn't read a single one. I didn't have the strength. The next morning, I went home after the kids had already left for school. Monica was in the kitchen. Her eyes were swollen, like she hadn't slept either. She tried to talk. I walked right past her. She followed me down the hallway, talking fast, voice cracking, words tumbling over each other like an avalanche. "It didn't start out like this," she said. "We were just talking at first." I didn't look at her. "We were talking about work life." I felt heard. I felt seen. "You've been distant and—" I turned to her so fast she flinched. "You blame me for your cheating?" I said louder than I meant to. "No, I'm not blaming you," she said quickly. "You said it meant nothing." I snapped. "So which is it? It meant nothing or it meant so much you had to destroy our whole life to feel seen?" She started crying again, hands covering her face. I couldn't even feel sorry. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Just empty. That day, I took a sick day from work and drove around. I stopped by my brother's place. He's the kind of guy who doesn't ask many questions unless you tell him to. When I told him what happened, he didn't say anything for a minute. Just stared at the floor and muttered, "Damn." He offered to let me crash at his place for a while. I said maybe. That night, Monica and I finally had a longer talk. It was raw. It was brutal. And it got worse. She admitted it had been going on for almost a year. A year. Same guy. A guy she met through work at a conference. He was a speaker, some hotshot consultant. They kept in touch, met up a few times. Caught feelings. And the rest is the cliché that ends marriages. She said she was going to break it off. That she had tried. Then she dropped something I didn't see coming. "He proposed," she said quietly. I blinked. "What?" "He asked me to leave you," she said, barely audible. 2 months ago. I stared at her like she'd grown a second head. "And you said what?" I asked. "I said no," she whispered. "I told him I couldn't." I laughed. It was bitter, dry, ugly. "You said no to him but yes to sneaking around with him for a year?" She didn't have a good answer. Just more tears. More silence. More begging. The next twist didn't come from her. It came from the motel guy himself. 3 days after everything blew up, I got a knock on the door. It was him. Wearing a dress shirt and looking like he hadn't slept either. Monica wasn't home. I stood in the doorway, every muscle in my body ready to launch him across the yard. "I just want to talk," he said, raising both hands like he was trying not to get shot. "Talk?" I said. "You have 5 seconds before I turn this into a felony." He swallowed hard. "I didn't know you were still together," he said. "She told me you were separated. That the marriage was basically over." I stared. "What?" He nodded quickly. "She told me you were just staying for the kids. That you slept in separate rooms. That hit me harder than the cheating. Because it was planned. She built a lie around her life. A full-blown, detailed lie. I didn't say anything. Just closed the door in his face. Later that night, I confronted her about it. She didn't even deny it. I didn't know how else to live both lives, she said. Both lives. Like I was some rental she hadn't returned yet. At that point, I didn't know what to feel anymore. Betrayed doesn't even begin to cover it. Then came the next gut punch. She was pregnant. At first, I thought I misheard. What? She repeated it. I'm pregnant, she said. I didn't ask how far along. I didn't ask whose it was. Because I already knew. There was no chance it was mine. We hadn't been intimate in months. That part of our life had died before I realized the rest was dying too. She looked like she was going to faint. I sat down. My hands shook. I looked her in the eye and asked, "Were you ever going to tell me?" She shook her head. "I don't know," she said. "I kept thinking I'd figure it out. I didn't mean for it to get this far. Too late. Way too late. That's where things stand now. I haven't told the kids yet. I haven't told my parents. She's still living in the house for now. Sleeping in the guest room. I sleep with the door locked. I'm talking to a lawyer tomorrow. And I can't stop thinking about how none of this was part of the plan. How one small lie turned into a whole secret life. And how someone you thought you knew better than anyone can look you dead in the eye and make you feel like you imagined the whole marriage. A week after she dropped the pregnancy bombshell, things got even worse. I'd started sleeping at my brother's house, just to get some distance. The kids were staying with Monica, since I didn't want to uproot their routines until I figured out the next step. They still didn't know anything, and I wanted to keep it that way, at least for now. But on a random Thursday morning, I got a call from the school counselor. Apparently, my son had gotten into a fight. Punched another kid in the face. Not normal for him at all. When I got to the school, the counselor pulled me aside and said he'd overheard a group of kids whispering about how his mom was having a baby with someone else. They weren't being subtle. One even showed him a screenshot of some text thread going around, rumors spreading like wildfire. I felt sick. Turns out, the guy Monica had been seeing, the consultant, was married too. With kids. Yeah. His wife found out about the affair through a suspicious credit card charge and did some digging. Then she found Monica's social media. And that's when everything spiraled. She sent screenshots. Voicemails. Emails. She sent everything. Not just to me. But to Monica's entire office. Monica got fired the next day. Apparently, her boss had been warned before about mixing personal and professional relationships, and this was the final straw. They told her to pack up and leave that same afternoon. HR barely made eye contact. When she came home that night, she looked like a ghost. But she wasn't angry. She was numb. And I wasn't even surprised anymore. At this point, it felt like there was a new explosion every 24 hours. Then came the twist I never saw coming. I got a message request on Facebook. Some random name I didn't recognize. "Hey. I don't know how to say this, but I think I'm your wife's sister." At first I thought it was spam or some scam. But then I saw the profile. Pictures. Family photos. Old ones. From when Monica was younger. She was in a few of them, looking about 10 or 11. The message continued, "She and I share the same father. I found out recently. I've been trying to reach her, but she's never responded. I saw what happened on her Facebook. I just wanted to let you know. I'm not trying to cause more problems. I just thought you should know about the rest of the story." That sent me down a rabbit hole I never expected. I confronted Monica about it. At first, she denied it. Then she cried. Then she admitted the truth. Her childhood wasn't what I thought it was. Her parents divorced when she was a baby, but her dad had another family. A whole other life. She'd kept it buried for decades. Apparently, that trauma had come up during counseling she'd been going to, counseling she never told me about. She said it messed with her self-worth, her sense of stability. That she started feeling like she was always pretending, and somewhere along the way, she lost herself. That's not an excuse. But it was a piece of the puzzle I didn't have before. Still, I was torn between empathy and disgust. Because while everyone's got a past, not everyone decides to burn their life down in the middle of it. And then, she lost the baby. It happened one morning about 3 weeks after I moved out. I got a call from her, sobbing. She'd collapsed in the kitchen and started bleeding. Ambulance came. I met her at the hospital. They confirmed it. The pregnancy was over. She stayed overnight. Alone. And even though I was furious with her, confused by her, done with her, I sat in the lobby all night. Not for her. For the version of her I used to know. The one I married. The one who used to wear my t-shirts around the house and laugh at stupid movies. That woman didn't exist anymore, but part of me still remembered her. When she came home, she didn't say much. She slept for almost 2 days straight. The affair guy? Gone. Completely ghosted. I heard from a friend that he moved back to California with his family. Probably trying to save face. So now, I'm living with my brother, still trying to figure out the right time to tell the kids. She's still in the house. Quiet. Like a ghost walking through a life that doesn't belong to her anymore. We haven't said the D word out loud yet. But it's coming. It's just a matter of how messy it'll get. And somewhere deep down, I keep asking myself, how the hell did we get here? The day it all came to a head, we were supposed to be civil. We had a family talk scheduled with the kids. I'd finally decided they needed to know something. Not all of it, but enough. I came over early. Monica had made tea. She was wearing a plain hoodie, hair tied back. No makeup. She looked like she hadn't slept in a week. There was a weird silence in the air, like the house itself knew something was coming. The kids were at the table, confused, fidgeting. I sat across from them and said, "We're going to take a break from living together. Mom and I are going through some things." That's all I planned to say. But then my daughter, 15 and way too sharp for her age, tilted her head and said, "Is this because Mom cheated?" The room went still. I looked at Monica. Her mouth fell open slightly. "Who told you that?" she asked, her voice shaking. My daughter didn't blink. "Someone's mom posted about it online. It got around." My son looked between us, wide-eyed. "Is that true?" I couldn't answer. I didn't need to. Monica burst into tears. Like full, gut-wrenching sobs. She tried to speak through them, but it just made things worse. "Yes," she finally said. "I did something very wrong." Then she started talking. And she didn't stop. She told them everything. Not all the graphic details, but enough to burn the last of her dignity to ash. She told them she made a mistake. That she hurt the family. That she'd been lying. And then she looked at me, right there, in front of our children, and said something I never expected. "I was jealous of you," she said. "You were steady. You always knew who you were. I felt like a shadow next to you. And instead of asking for help, I tried to fill that hole with someone else's attention. It was selfish. It was disgusting. I didn't just betray you, I betrayed them too." My daughter was crying. My son stood up and walked out of the room. I went after him, found him in the hallway, fists clenched. "I hate her," he said. I knelt beside him. "You don't have to protect her. You don't even have to forgive her right now. But we don't carry hate, all right? We learn. We feel what we feel. Then we decide how to move forward." He nodded, but he wouldn't look at me. When I walked back into the kitchen, Monica was still sobbing. My daughter sat stiffly, arms crossed. That night, we made the decision official. The divorce was happening. No more pretending. Word spread fast. Our small circle of friends divided overnight. Some supported me, texting me things like, "I always thought something was off," or, "You didn't deserve that." Some supported her. "She made a mistake. Doesn't mean she's evil." Even her own sister, the one who found her after all these years, stopped calling. Said she needed space. Monica stopped going out altogether. The house felt like a tomb. We signed the divorce papers 2 months later. No yelling. No courtroom drama. Just silence and pens scratching paper. She moved into an apartment downtown. I kept the house for the kids. I don't know if Monica ever fully understood the damage. Not just what she did, but how it changed who I was. I was the guy who believed in working it out. In fighting for the relationship. In forgiveness. Now I just believe in peace. The first night I slept alone in the house, I stayed up till sunrise. Not crying. Not angry. Just relieved. Like I'd finally put down a heavy backpack I didn't realize I'd been wearing for years. The kids still visit her, and we keep things civil. We don't talk about the past anymore. She sometimes tries to bring it up, hoping maybe I'll say I understand now. But I don't. And I won't. I did everything I could. I gave her a home, loyalty, love. And when things got hard, she didn't ask me to show up, she asked someone else to take my place. That's not love. That's not even weakness. That's cowardice. People say time heals all wounds. Maybe. But some wounds don't heal clean. They scar. And every time I see that scar, I remember not just what she did, but what I survived. I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm just free. And for the first time in years, I finally feel like me again.